Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm Asha Education Wali and I welcome you all to my another session with ChatGPT on a topic how to master the art of negotiation in daily life. Negotiation is not just for boardrooms or business deals. It's a skill we use every single day. Whether we are discussing responsibilities at work, deciding on household chores, or even choosing where to eat dinner. Mastering negotiation means learning how to balance empathy with assertiveness, listening with persuasion, and compromise with confidence. Today, let's dive into the art of negotiation by asking the right questions that will help us sharpen this essential life skill. So, let me call Maya for that. Good evening,
What's up?
Maya.
That well sounds like it's carrying a lot of weight. What's on your mind?
Uh, let's discuss on how to master the art of negotiation in daily life. So, before starting, what are the most common mistakes people make when negotiating in daily life?
The biggest one is probably treating it like a battle instead of a puzzle. Most people go in thinking there's a winner and a loser. So they dig their heels in or get aggressive, and then they miss the chance to find a creative middle ground that actually makes everyone happy. I'd also say a lot of people forget that the most powerful thing you can do is just stop talking and let the other person fill the silence. There's a lot more to it, though. Where do you want to dive in?
Okay, so how can I stay calm and confident during a negotiation, even if I feel nervous?
I found that the best way to shift the nerves is to stop thinking of it as a performance and start thinking of it as a conversation. When you're focused on how you're coming across, you're not actually listening. Try shifting your curiosity toward the other person. Ask yourself, what do they actually want here? And just get curious about that. Once you're genuinely trying to solve the puzzle, the pressure to be perfect usually just kind of evaporates. How does that approach land with you?
Yeah.
Nice.
How can I stay calm and sorry? What strategies can help me negotiate fairly without coming across as aggressive?
Totally get that. I think the key is to keep your focus on the what instead of the who. Instead of making it, I want this versus you want that, frame it as, how do we solve this problem together? When you invite them to help you figure it out, it stops feeling like a confrontation and starts feeling like a collaboration. And honestly, a little bit of vulnerability goes a long way. Just saying,
Okay.
I'm really hoping we can find something that works for both of us, takes the edge off immediately.
Mhm. So, how do cultural differences influence negotiation styles and how can I adopt?
That's a fascinating angle. Culture completely changes the dance. In some places, you get straight to the point and it's seen as efficient. In others, if you haven't spent 20 minutes talking about your family and drinking tea first, you've already lost the deal. It's all about the balance between directness and harmony. You can actually look into high context versus low context cultures if you want to see the patterns. But the best bet is usually just to mirror their pace. If they're taking it slow, slow down with them. If you're moving at light speed, pick up the tempo. It shows you're paying attention. Do you have a specific culture or scenario in mind?
Nothing as such. So, how can I use storytelling or examples to strengthen my negotiation position?
Storytelling is like a cheat code for negotiation. It's much harder for someone to argue with a story than with a fact. If you tell someone this price is fair because of the market rate, they'll just try to argue the market rate with you. But if you say, I remember a time when I tried to do this cheaper and it ended up costing me twice as much in repairs, now you're not arguing numbers anymore. You're sharing a lesson. It builds trust. It makes your position feel human rather than just a demand.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What are some practical ways to prepare before entering sorry? How can I recognize when it's better to compromise versus stand firm?
It's all about the gap between your ideal and your deal breaker. If you can't figure out exactly where that line is before you start, you'll almost always cave too early just to stop the tension. But if you have a clear walk away point, standing firm doesn't feel like a power struggle. It just feels like a fact. I have a few tricks for figuring that line out if you're interested.
Okay. So, what psychological tactics are often used in negotiation?
Oh, there's so much. But probably the most common one is anchoring, which is basically just being the first person to throw out a number. The first number on the table sets the mental boundaries for the whole conversation. Even if it's a total shot in the dark, it pulls the other person's expectations toward that number, and they'll end up negotiating around it instead of starting from scratch. Then you have things like the door in the face, where you ask for something totally outrageous on purpose, just so that when you compromise down to what you actually wanted, the other person feels like they've won a major victory. It's a bit sneaky, but effective. What's your take on those kinds of tactics?
Yeah, not really. So, how can I practice negotiation skills in everyday situations like shopping or family discussions?
Start where the risk is low. For shopping, you can try asking for a small discount on a floor model or checking if they have any coupons you might have missed. It's basically a practice round with no real stakes. With family, try it with something simple, like who has to do the dishes, and focus on finding a creative trade. It's much easier to refine your approach when the worst case scenario is just doing a few more plates.
Okay. So, can you share with me real life examples for negotiation in daily life?
Of course, think about something as simple as deciding where to eat with a group. Instead of a deadlocked, I don't care, you pick, you could try a trade. I'll do the driving if we can try that new sushi place. You're not fighting over a location, you're creating a value exchange. Then there's the classic home repair scenario. If a contractor's quote is a bit too high, instead of just asking for a discount, try asking what you can change about the project to lower the cost. It invites them to solve the problem with you rather than just slashing their profit. I've got a few more if you want them.
Yeah, you can share, please.
Here's one that probably happens at least once a month. Imagine you're trying to get a ride to the airport, but your friend is exhausted and really doesn't want to wake up at 4 a.m. Instead of arguing about how much of a favor it is, you create a trade that solves their problem. You say, I know that early drive is brutal, so tell you what, if you can drop me off, I'll cover the coffee for the whole drive and take your turn doing the neighborhood trash duty for the next 2 weeks. You're not just asking for a favor, you're paying them in things they actually value. Then you have the workload shuffle in a professional setting. Let's say your boss dumps a huge project on your desk, but you're already underwater. Instead of just saying, yep, I can't do this, which can feel like a wall, you try a priority pivot. You say, I'm happy to dive into this, but to give it the attention it needs, I'll have to push back the report due on Thursday. Which of these should be the priority for you this week? Now, you're not negotiating your effort, you're negotiating their expectations. Do
Mm,
either of those scenarios feel like something you could actually use?
mm, yeah.
Hmm?
Okay, so what role does active listening play in successful negotiation?
It's basically the engine that drives the whole thing. Most people listen just to find a gap where they can jump in with their own point, but real active listening is about hearing the thing they aren't actually saying. When you mirror their language or summarize their point back to them, it does two things. First, it makes them feel seen, which lowers their defenses. Second, it often reveals the actual why behind their demand, which is where the real room for a deal usually hides.
Okay. Thank you so
I've been
much,
talking.
Maya, for enlightening us on the art of negotiation in daily life. I hope these tips and tricks are very useful for our viewers.
My pleasure. I've had a blast diving into the psychology of it all with you.
Me too.
Glad I could help, and I'll be here whenever you're ready for the next topic.
I'm done with my all ChatGPT topics. This was my last topic. Thank you so much. But we shall meet again to discuss some more things.
Right on. It sounds like you've officially cleared the board on your Chat GPT list. I had a great time diving into
Exactly.
the negotiation psychology with you.
Thank you
Talk
so
soon.
much. Bye bye. Wish me
Anytime.
best.
Take care. You got it. Rooting for you.
Thank you.